projection as to relevance, that projection be overruled. Read through this, all of this seems to be relating to the money of the estate and actions of the guardianship and the actions Mr. Brown, Mr. Shackelford discussed relative to the guardianship proceeds. So, projection as to relevance be overruled. The audio set up?
Yes, sir. It's set up,
Are we ready for the jury?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we are.
All right, let's bring the jury in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you had a good lunch. You followed my admonitions right. Had discussed this case with anybody, done any research, or go sightseeing anywhere. Is that right? All right, you ready to proceed? Who's the state have next?
State calls Lennon Shackelford.
Shackelford, if you come around, be sworn, please.
Testimony about today in this call to swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth. I do.
Shackelford, you can have a seat in that chair there, please. You can move that chair and that microphone there if you need to, so you can speak into it comfortably.
Dr. Steve, Your Honor.
May proceed.
Would you identify yourself for the record, please, and the court reporter wants you to spell your last name for me.
Loomis Shackelford, Shackelford.
Mr. Shackelford, how old are you?
65,
And what business or employment do you have?
cemetery.
Can you explain a little bit more about that? Do you manage, own, or operate? What do you do with respect to a cemetery?
All three, own, manage,
Okay.
everything needs to be done.
Now, do you know Thomas and Lamont McClinton?
I do,
And do you know their relationship to each other?
I do.
What is that?
Thomas is Damon's father.
When did you meet? First of all, when did you meet Thomas McClinton and what's her name?
I met Thomas McClinton after Mike Brown came to me, offered to make that loan to me, and after a while of thinking about it and discussing it and so forth, and decided that I would possibly do that, I wanted to meet him to know more about him. I mean, I thought that I should know him and that he should know me.
All right. Now, what was your relationship with Michael Brown in early 2001?
Well, he had done a few things for me, legal work, and that was it. I mean, he was my attorney
All right.
for things.
Is this gentleman over here, Michael Brown, whom you refer?
Yes.
Now, in early 2001, were you in the process of, or in the process of attempting to make a loan for your business?
I was in the process of getting a loan for developing and consolidating and so forth.
And was Michael Brown involved in any way in your effort to obtain
No.
money?
No.
Was he aware that you were?
He was aware of it because it was something that happened at one of the banks that I questioned, and I asked him if he knew of an attorney that I could go to that specialized in that and could give me some advice on it. So he was aware of what I was doing.
All right. And knowing that you were in the process of borrowing money, Mr. Shackelford, did the time come when Mr. Michael Brown offered to lend you some money?
Yes.
Tell the jury how that came about.
First, he called me on the telephone and said that he was going to be able to.
Scott, slow down now just a little bit. You're talking too fast. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
He called me and said that he was going to be able to loan me the funds that I was needing for
Who was going to loan you the funds?
him.
Him or Mr. Brown? All right.
And it kind of caught me by surprise, and I didn't really think much of it at that time. And then he called me back, and I started asking a few questions about how are you going to do that. And he said that he was working on a case, and he had a client that was going to receive some funds from the sale of a TV station.
All right. And Mr. Shire, how much money how much money did you need to borrow to go work?
1.2 million.
And what were you going to use that money for?
That was going to pay off the first on the mortgage, and then the rest of it was going to be for developing.
And when Mr. Brown told you that he Mr. Brown, could lend you some money, did he tell you anything about where that money was coming from other than what you just said, that he had clients who were coming in some money?
Not at that time, no.
Now, at some point, did you learn that the money that Michael Brown was offering to lend you was in fact Demond McClinton's money?
I found out that it was Devon McClinton's money a good while after that, and that's when I started requesting that I wanted to meet Devon McClinton.
Had you met Thomas McClinton at that time?
Yeah, I met Thomas at the Olive Garden at the time.
And do you know, or did you know then, or do you know now that at that time, Demond McClinton was a minor?
I wasn't aware of Devon McClinton at that time, that I met Thomas at the Olive Garden.
At some point, did you learn that Demond McClinton, whose money it really was a minor? Or was under guardianship? Did you learn that?
Yeah, I did, but I don't know exactly when that was.
Okay. Now, tell me about the circumstances when you first met Thomas McClinton.
I told Mike Brown that I wanted to meet him, and he set up they were going to pick up some automobiles,
Now, Dave, who are you talking about?
him and Thomas.
Michael Brown and Thomas McClinton?
Yes.
All right, go and pick up some automobiles.
Yeah, and he wanted me to bring him and then pick up
Excuse
Thomas.
me, Mr. Shire, when you say him and
I'm
he-
sorry. Michael Brown wanted me to pick him up and then go by and pick Thomas McClinton up. And then we went to the Olive Garden and ate, and that's when I met Thomas McClinton. And then after that, I talked to Thomas for a few minutes and we ate. Then I took them to the Mercedes place for them to pick up 2 vehicles that they were going to pick up.
All right. Now, at the meeting y'all had at the Olive Garden, who all was present?
Michael Brown and Thomas McClinton and myself.
Demond McClinton was not there?
No.
All right. Now, as a result of the meeting that y'all had at the Olive Garden, was a decision made concerning the loan?
I didn't make a decision at that point and then say yes. But after that meeting, then I started feeling a little bit more comfortable about it and decided to do it.
Now, did y'all discuss terms such as
Not at that meeting.
interest repayment? You didn't talk about that at that time. Well, after the meeting, were you satisfied that that's what you wanted to do, that is, borrow his money?
After the meeting, yeah, and after the meeting, then I thought about it and then felt that after the meeting, I felt that it was okay.
All right. Now, who was the next person that you talked with about this loan?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean, the next person.
Are you talking-
After that meeting?
After that meeting, who's the next person you talked about the loan with?
I don't know that I talked to anyone
Okay.
about it after that.
All right. And whom did you, who did you tell that you wanted to make the loan, that you wanted to go ahead with? Who did you talk to about that?
Well, I talked to my wife about it.
You talked to Michael Brown about it?
Well, yeah, I talked to him and I told him that I decided to go ahead and do it.
And what did Michael Brown say?
Then he said, okay, that he needed some stuff from me, he needed an appraisal on my property, and that he had to do some things.
Okay.
Some things done.
Right. At what point did you learn that that was Devon Clinton's money that Michael Brown was offering to lend you?
It was a good while after that, and I'm not sure that it was when I requested to meet Thomas, because I was starting to just not be comfortable with some things, and I wanted to meet Thomas and talk to him, and I wanted to meet DeMond. So it was probably before that I found out, and that's when I wanted to talk to Thomas about what was really going on and what the deal was, because I was under the impression that the money was coming from Thomas through that sale. And then somewhere along the line, I know I started asking Mike some questions, and I think it was him that finally told me that, and that's when I wanted to talk to Thomas.
Shire, I'm going to hand you states. Exhibit 9, I'll ask you if you recognize that.
I do.
What is that?
That's that first check that he loaned to me.
All right, and how much is it for, and what is the date?
It's for $300,000, and the date is February the 22nd, 2001.
All right. And who gave you that check?
Michael Brown did.
And what county and what state were you when he gave it to you?
Rankin County, Mississippi.
Now, later on, did y'all have more discussions about borrowing some more money?
No, there was not any more discussions about borrowing money. I was under the impression that he was going to loan me the full amount that I was working on with the banks. And that's what I thought was going to happen. And he told me when he loaned that to me that the rest would come later.
Who told you that?
Michael Brown.
Told you the rest will come later.
Yeah.
All right, some 6.5 or 7 months later, did Michael Brown give you another check?
Yes. I don't remember exactly how long after.
Well, from February 22nd until September the 7th of 01. I'm going to hand you states A. I'll ask you if you recognize that.
I did.
What is that?
It's that second check for
How much is it?
$250,000.
Who gave that check?
Michael Brown.
And what county and what state were you when you gave it?
Rankin County, Mississippi.
And what did you do with those checks?
They were deposited into our checking account for the
That's a cemetery business,
Yeah.
whatever you call it, operating account or whatever.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, when Michael Brown gave you these 2 checks that you testified about, did he present you or show you any loan documents of any kind in connection with this this loan?
There was a promissory note. I'm not sure exactly when that was presented to me, whether it was at the time that he gave me the checks or sometime after. I'm not sure. I never did get a copy from him.
Who presented that promissory note to you?
Michael Brown.
All right. And Mr. Shackelford, before this, had you borrowed money before?
Well, yeah. I guess.
Okay. Are you familiar with giving security for a loan? Giving a deed of trust, for example.
Yes, sir.
You familiar with that?
Yes, sir.
You done that before?
Yes, sir.
Now, did Michael Brown require you to give a deed of trust on anything before he gave you that, money?
No, sir.
Has he ever obtained a deed of trust from you to secure these loans?
No, sir.
Now, I want to fast forward some to early 2012 or very late in 2011. We did, sir. Late 2011 or early 2012, when, for lack of a better word, things started blowing up in Hines County Chancery Court. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
You will remember that, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Now, at or about that time, did you have any meetings with Michael Brown?
Yes, sir.
And specifically, I'll ask you if he had, how many meetings did you have?
Actual meetings in person at my office was 3 that I remember concerning that.
All right. And I want to direct you to the first of these 3 meetings, okay? Did you know Michael Brown was coming to your office on that occasion?
The first time that he came, I did not know he was coming. He had, it was the day that he left court. I wasn't at that hearing. And it was the day that he left, and he came out there, and I was not there. And the lady that works there called me. I was at a family's home, and said that Mike Brown was there and wanted to see me, and I wasn't expecting him. And she said that he was making her very nervous, that he was real fidgety, he was walking around behind the counter and looking at the computer and stuff. So as soon as I left the family, I called, and he was still there waiting on me. And I got there, and it was time for her to leave, and she left. And we talked for, I don't remember how long it was, but we talked, and he said that he wanted to talk to me about some things, and he wanted me to do a few things and so forth concerning that.
Let me ask you that one stop right there. Did he make any specific request of you about what he wanted you to do in Hines County Chancery Court?
Not at that meeting, that was a brief meeting.
Okay. Go ahead and finish what
And I had, it was on a Wednesday night, and I was going to church. So we set up a meeting. I don't know if it was the next night or the night after, but it was in that week, a day or 2 after that meeting. And that's when he came to the office. And, well, he did tell me some of the things he told me he wanted to do. He did tell me that he wanted me to say some things that was not true.
Explain what you mean by that. Now, you mean say some things where that weren't true.
He wanted me to tell the judge.
He wanted you to go to court and swear and then
Right.
tell something wasn't true?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury what that was.
He wanted me to say that I had borrowed over $1 million and that he was going to backdate the papers, and that it didn't make any difference, but I would never have to pay it because it was past the statute of limitations, and he was backdating it to where it would show that it was past the statute of limitations. And that's when I got very uncomfortable with what he was saying. And I called a friend, a very close friend, and told him what was going on, and he's the one who suggested that I tape this.
All right. So which conversation did you take?
I taped the second one when he actually told me exactly what he wanted me to do and those papers that he wanted me to sign, which I thought was going to be deeds of trust. That
But
I
it was
already
not a
signed.
deed of trust?
No, sir. I thought that it was going to be the deeds of trust on the promissory notes that I had already signed.
And did you learn that he did not want you to sign the deed of trust at all, or what did he want you to sign?
He had those other papers, which was another, I think it was 2 or 3 papers, which was other promissory notes that he had. And then when I asked him to slide them across to me, that I was going to sign them, because I thought it was deeds of trust, and then he told me they weren't deeds of trust, that they were promissory notes. And I said, well, I've already signed the promissory notes, why do you want me to sign them again? He said, well, it's not the same ones, and that's when he explained about backdating them, it's for over $1 million.
That was my next question. He presented you and asked you to sign promissory notes in a sum of over $1 million.
Yes, sir.
And he also explained to you that he wanted that y'all were going to backdate these notes.
Yes, sir.
And was it also your understanding that he wanted you to testify in court that this was a up and up transaction?
Yes, sir. Under oath to a judge. Yes, sir.
Were you willing to do that?
No, sir.
All right. Now, Mr. Shackelford, did you record that conversation between yourself and Michael Brown?
Yes, sir.
And where was the recording device?
I had it on my desk behind some books and stuff where he
Obviously, he was not aware of it.
No, sir, he wasn't aware of it. You may.
Shackford, I'm going to hand you a compact disc, and I'll ask you if you can recognize it, and if so, how.
Because it's got my initials on it that I signed at your office, and it's got the date of when I did it.
All right? And I'm going to ask you if you had occasion on that time to re-listen to the recording that you made between yourself and Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir.
And whose voices appear on this recording?
Mike Brown's voice and my voice.
Anybody else's?
No, sir, I don't recall it, but no voice on it.
And after listening to this recording, did you determine that this is a fair and accurate representation according to the conversation that y'all had?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to hand you another item, and I'll ask you if you can recognize that, please.
It has my initials on it, the same date as that.
And is that a transcript of this recording?
Yes, sir.
And did you read that transcript as you listened to this recording on April 5th, 2013?
Yes, sir.
And is this transcript an accurate accounting of what you listened of the contents of this recording?
Yes, sir.
Did you read the transcript as you listened to this recording?
Yes, sir.
Now we can move these items next morning.
Well, says the fence.
See, question back.
George, I'm going to ask you which of the jury that you're in. aware of what your objection is.
The motion for discovery was filed on October 8, 2012. We received the discovery, the motion discovery on October 30th, 2012. And no time was at this for a transcript ever relayed to us at any time.
All right, Mr. Brown, I'm looking at a motion to suppress that was filed on your behalf by Mr. Lockhart on January the 9th, 2013. And on January the 9th, 2013, in this motion, stated that on January the 3rd, 2013, I received a DVD of a conversation the defendant had with Lionel Shackelford. And you just told me that you had not received that.
No, I didn't receive the original discovery pack. We received it.
But you just said at no time had you received that.
Oh, we received it on January 2nd. This one I got here, just saying, second. I'm reading this right here. The original discovery pack.
All right, what is your objection to the DVD?
That they did not give it to me in a timely manner. They had the discovery, they had the video, the audio tape back when they sent me on original discovery.
All right.
We were original.
Okay, I've heard enough on that. You received this at least January the 9th, 2013. We're in August now. That's ample time. Do you have any other objections? All right.
Except for the original arguments I had before.
All right. I've overruled your objection as to relevance.